This big fella is an Aussie burger with the lot, and despite what some people might think, it's absolutely awesome. What makes this particular burger unique is a whole stack of additional toppings known as the lot, and it contains some ingredients that at first glance may seem a little unconventional. To help you recreate this burger at home, I'm going to explain all of the necessary ingredients, give some tips on how to prepare them, and give my advice on the optimal way to construct it. There might even be a few controversial hot takes along the way. So let's get snacking. To fully appreciate and understand this burger, you need to understand each of its core components. So let's start with the basic components of a burger. First up, the bun. And for an Aussie burger with the lot, you want a classic bread roll. No fancy brioche, they're too sweet. No potato rolls, they're great for most burgers, but for this, they just don't have the structural integrity to stay together. This burger needs a nice and simple, humble bread roll, preferably with sesame seeds, but without is fine too. There's a few essential extra steps required to properly prepare the roll, but we'll get into that later. Next, onto the beef. This will most commonly be a fairly simple ground beef. Traditionally, this is a fairly humble burger, so you're unlikely to find custom blends of particular cuts, just a nice simple ground beef with about an 80-20 meat to fat ratio. So the bun and the beef, that's the bare bones ingredients of a burger. So now we need to talk about the lot. To put it simply, the lot means all of the available extra toppings. Aussie takeaway shops serve a very broad range of food, so depending on the particular shop, what's available could be just about anything. But I'll cover the most traditional, classic set of additions, starting with the cheese. And for this burger, you'll need a slice or two of tasty. What's tasty cheese? Well, it's cheddar. Why do we call it tasty? I guess because it's tasty? This is a fairly common supermarket brand, and if you're the kind of person who likes to explore a bit of controversy, go and Google what this brand of cheese used to be called.
The weirdest thing I found about Australia, you can go into a supermarket in Australia and you can buy a cheese called cheese. Did you hear what I said? Cheese. It's advertised on the TV.
I mean, for context, the brand was named after a famous American cheesemaker, with an unfortunate last name. But without that context, it seems a bit insensitive, so they changed it. Next, there's the salad ingredients. Some kind of lettuce, usually iceberg. Personally, I like shredded iceberg lettuce, otherwise known as shreddus, and I'm feeling lazy today, so I've got a bag that's been pre-shredded. And according to the packaging, it's full of flavour, which is not a way that I would normally describe iceberg lettuce. It's pretty plain, but that's just fine. Then we'll need some sliced tomato and some sliced onion. The onion is typically grilled, and I'll give you some tips for that later in the video. And now we come to some of the more unique ingredients. Tinned beetroot and pineapple. Why? Because history. Plus, it's delicious. Since the birth of the hamburger in America in the 1900s, it took about 30 years before they started showing up on Australian menus. It was around this time that two massive canning factories opened up in Australia, giving the whole country a steady supply of canned goods. And it seems like enterprising Aussies have just looked at those two events and gone, yeah, why not? Beetroot on a burger, and we've never looked back since. Now, it's really important to note that the beetroot we use on burgers is pickled. This can cause quite a bit of confusion even when talking to Aussies, because a lot of Aussies don't realise that our beetroot is actually pickled, because it doesn't say it on the can. But I know in other parts of the world, both pickled and unpickled beets are available in cans. And if you compare the ingredients list, you can clearly see that ours are pickled. Then there's the pineapple. If anything is optional on this burger, it's the pineapple. It's not for everyone, but again, it adds some sweetness and some acidity that balance out the other flavors really well. If you're the kind of person who likes pineapple on pizza, then you're the kind of person who wants pineapple on your burger with the lot. After taking them out of the can, I like to put these on a piece of paper towel to absorb any excess liquid. Otherwise, the burger can get a bit too wet and drippy. Next, egg. There's no such thing as the lot without a fried egg on top. Around the time these burgers started showing up, times could be tough, and throwing an egg on something was a great, cheap way to add some extra protein. And lastly, bacon. Why bacon? Because bacon. Bacon makes everything better. In Australia, we'll typically use what we call middle bacon for this, but any bacon will do just fine. Oh, and let's not forget the sauce. It's generally kept nice and simple with a choice of either tomato sauce or barbecue sauce. So, Now that you know what's in the burger, let's talk about how to properly prepare each ingredient. The buns on these burgers aren't always toasted, but they are at the very least buttered. I prefer mine toasted over buttered, so I'm toasting it, just until it's a nice golden brown. The bacon is pretty straightforward, just fry it until it's crispy. Now, grilling the onions takes a little bit of technique. These aren't low and slow caramelized onions, they're cooked quickly over a relatively high heat to give them some quick browning and maybe even a little bit of char. So you want to keep them moving fairly frequently, and if you were doing this at a backyard barbecue with a beer in your hand, you'd keep things in balance by periodically pouring small amounts of beer into the onions to temporarily reduce the heat and stop them from burning. Then we'll fry our egg. You can do these freeform, but this is a really big burger and it gets really hard to handle if things aren't even. So I like to use an egg ring, or even better in this case, a crumpet ring. They're a little bit wider than an egg ring, which just allows your egg to be a little bit flatter, which again is important when you're building a burger this tall to stop things from getting too out of hand. That's one egg in. Now, I wonder if I can do this left-handed. That would be a no. Just let me get those shells out of there. And now I'm going to do something a little bit controversial. I'm bursting the yolks. I love a runny egg yolk as much as the next person, but this is a big burger full of fairly wet ingredients. It's going to get messy enough without having a runny egg yolk bursting out the side. Some people might disagree. If you want a runny yolk in yours, go right ahead, but make sure you've got plenty of napkins on hand. You have been warned. And another absolutely critical tip for these eggs: season them. Give them a good pinch of salt and a crack of black pepper. Eggs are kind of like a seasoning magnet. If you don't season them separately, they'll act like a flavor sponge and pull a lot of the flavor out of the surrounding ingredients. But if properly seasoned, it will add to the flavor rather than taking away. Now, the pineapple comes from a can, so it will already be cooked, but best practice is to give it a quick fry in a hot pan so that it takes on a little bit of color and caramelizes some of the sugars. So a little sear on both sides, and that looks absolutely perfect. An Aussie burger with a lot isn't one of those thick boy burgers. The patty is usually fairly thin. There is, as the name suggests, a lot that goes onto these burgers, so too thick a patty and you're just not going to fit it all in. So I pre-shaped my patty to a nice even thickness, a little bit wider than the bun, so if it shrinks a bit while it's cooking, it'll be just the right fit. And then I'm just seasoning that with a sprinkle of salt and throwing it into a hot pan. Once it's developed a nice crust on one side, flip that over and then place a couple of slices of tasty cheese right on top. Now, unlike American processed cheese, which melts super easily, this tasty cheddar takes a little bit more heat. So I'm just popping a lid on for about a minute to trap in some of the heat, and this will help to get it nice and melty. And now to bring it all together. We'll start with our nice toasted bun, and as we discussed earlier, you'll usually have a choice between tomato sauce and barbecue sauce. But I say,
¿Por qué no los dos?
So I'll put a generous squirt of tomato sauce on the bottom and a generous squirt of barbecue sauce on the top. And yes, there is a reason for specifically doing it that way around, which should become clear shortly. Now, the order in which you stack these ingredients onto the burger is of critical importance, partially for the structural integrity of the burger and partially for the eating experience. I'll explain more later, but from my experimentation, this is the optimal way to stack an Aussie burger with the lot. On top of the ketchup, we'll pile on a little bit of shredders, followed by a nice big slice of tomato, which I'm seasoning lightly with a little pinch of salt and a little bit of black pepper. It's a small thing, but it really helps to bring out the flavors. On top of that seasoned tomato, I'm putting 2 nice big slices of beetroot. And on top of that is where I should have put the onions. But I forgot. But never mind, with all these other ingredients in here, it'll still be great. Then on top of the non-existent onions goes the cheese-covered burger patty. On top of that goes the egg, followed by our crispy bacon, and then balanced on top of that will be our grilled pineapple. And lastly, we're crowning the whole thing with our barbecue sauce covered top bun. And now that all the components are in place, let's talk about why I think this is the optimal order of ingredients. You see, it's all about perfect bites. This is a very tall burger, and unless you can unhinge your jaw like a snake, it's quite unlikely that you're going to be able to fit the whole thing in your mouth. As a result, it's quite likely that you'll be taking slightly diagonal bites, alternating between upward and downward angles. So let's have a look at what that might look like. Coming in from the bottom, you're going to be getting some beef and cheese from the patty, complemented by some earthy beetroot, but also balanced out by the acidity that the pickled beetroot brings. The seasoned slice of tomato will add more savoury notes and keep things nice and juicy. The slightly charred grilled onions will complement that really nicely. There's some lettuce under there to keep things fresh and give a little bit of texture, and some savoury, tangy ketchup to bring it all together. That will be a really nice mouthful of food. Now, let's take a look at the other angle. Coming in from the top, again, you'll be getting some beef and some cheese, but this time followed by egg and bacon, the classic combination. And then to liven up and balance out all those savoury and salty flavours, we've got some sweet but tangy pineapple, complemented by some sweet but tangy barbecue sauce. And then, once you've taken a chip off the top and the bottom, you will probably be able to get a bite from the side that does have the lot, and it'll be an absolute symphony of flavours. So, that is a burger that's fit for an Aussie. If you want to check out a burger that's fit for an Oklahoman, check out this video. For a delicious spicy ketchup that's just perfect on burgers, check out this one. And until next time, happy snacking.